What's going on YouTube? So it's hard to think of many other vehicles that have aged as gracefully as this generation of the XC90, which is actually entering its 7th model year for 2022. Part of the reason for that, beyond a timeless design, is the fact that Volvo has made incremental updates each year, and this year is no different. So is this still a top pick among luxury 3-row crossovers? Let's jump into the review and find out. So like I was mentioning, this XC90 really has a timeless design that still looks good, even though they haven't done a lot of changes to the exterior since it first debuted. So up here in the front, you've got that really clean and classy look with that signature Volvo grille, which is kind of like a soft rectangular shape. Of course, just like in previous model years, the inscription here is going to come with all the nice chrome bars. The Momentum will have a more plain look, and then the R design will have that black mesh for a sportier look. And then off to the side, of course, you have the signature Thor's Hammer full LED headlights. These are also adaptive as standard equipment. And of course, like I said, you have that signature look that Volvos are known for. Additionally, down below, you'll find a little bit more bright work, and then you have full LED fog lights as well. And coming over here to the side and checking out the wheels, you continue to have a lot of different choices depending on the trim level, starting at 19-inch alloys and working your way up all the way to 22-inch alloys. These wheels right here are 21-inch inscription alloys, which I continue to really like the design on board with this. And then moving up here to your mirrors, Volvo doesn't mess around. They give you every single feature as standard equipment, so that's going to be heating, auto dimming, power folding, and blind spot monitoring. Now here at the side of the XC90, of course, you're going to have your signature classy and elegant look that this model has always had. No changes for 2022. But heading around to the rear design, you will notice that there is one exterior change. And I will talk about that in just a second, so I'll leave you sitting on the edge of your seat for that. But as far as the rear design as a whole, it is very much the same as it has been for many years, which is actually a great thing because this is a beautiful vehicle. So we have Volvo spelled out across the back, and then accenting the sides are going to be your LED taillights. These are going to be full LED taillights. Your turn signal, your brake light is LED. However, the reverse light is going to be incandescent. Then if we drop down below that, since we do have the fully loaded inscription, we're going to have a lot of these nice chrome elements. But you're noticing that 2022 change, which is going to be that exhaust pipes have actually been deleted from the XC90 lineup this year. So I personally prefer the exhaust pipes, but that is a change that Volvo has made across all of their cars for 2022. Now, unlike a lot of the German rivals, safety systems are going to actually be standard equipment on this XC90, and it's going to be all of them as well. So you have forward emergency braking, pedestrian detection, you also have adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, and auto high beam headlamps. The XC90 has always been one of my favorite vehicles in this segment on the outside, but now let's go ahead and check out the really nice cabin. But before we do that, please hit the subscribe button down below. Also follow us on our other social medias like TikTok as well as Instagram. So walking up to this XC90, of course, you do have a standard smart entry system, and you got the Volvo typical key fob. However, you will notice for 2022, it is no longer covered in leather, just like the rest of the Volvo lineup. And of course, to get inside the vehicle itself, just grab behind the handle and it will unlock, and your mirrors will electrically fold out. Alright, and taking a look inside of the cabin, we do have basically a mostly carryover design for 2022 as expected, but this continues to be a very nice place just like it has been in past model years. One of the nicest things about this interior is all the different color and material options you have to choose between. So your Momentum will start out with leatherette, and then you can get optional leather. The R design is going to come with full Napa leather, as well as this inscription you see today. Now with the inscription, you're going to have the choice between charcoal, amber, blonde, maroon, or slate, so you have a lot of different options. You also have the ability to get a special wool fabric seating, which is very neat. Now turning over here to your door trim, of course, very nicely finished. You're going to find leather over pretty much the entire thing. So you have leather armrests with padding above this as well. And you are going to have a leather material across the upper part. You have several different types of wood or aluminum trims you can choose between. This here is a really beautiful open pore ash wood. Of course, you have standard 3-person memory seating, beautiful real metal speaker grills. And all 4 of your windows will be one-touch auto up and down. Now coming over here to your seats, you do have a lot of different adjustments. So it starts out as a 10-way power adjusting seat. However, when you choose this top end inscription, you're going to get a power thigh extension, as well as power bolsters, and then you can option on massaging as well if you want that. And then like I was already mentioning, this is fine Napa leather, which is one of the higher grades of leather in the auto industry. Of course, seats are legendary on the Volvos. They continue to have that really beautiful contoured shape that feels wonderful and looks super nice. Ever since this vehicle first came out, it won a lot of awards for this cabin, and it continues to be a beautiful place to spend time. So on the R design and the inscription, you're going to have what Volvo calls the tailored dashboard, which is basically a leather material covering all the upper dash with the stitching detail, as well as down through here. Of course, in the middle section, you're going to find more of this open pore ash wood. It continues down here to this section, as well as along all of this area. And then you've got the nice leather material that runs all around through here for your knee to rest against with the stitching detail. And of course, everything in here does fit together extremely well. Now to start it up, you're going to put your foot on the brake and twist the button. And of course, after you start up the vehicle, you will be greeted by the 12.3-inch reconfigurable gauge cluster. This is the standard style. It's not the newest version with the Android Automotive OS. However, you do still have the same options for reconfigurability as before, so you can change to different color schemes as well as turn things on and off like your map display. And then if you choose to have a model equipped with the advanced package, that will also throw in a head-up display. Now coming back here to the steering wheel, of course we do have electric power assisted steering, a nice steering wheel that's covered in a soft leather. You can continue to get the two-tone finish if you like that. And as far as the steering wheel itself, it is going to be manual tilt and telescoping. Heating is available as a standalone option. Let's go ahead and take a look next at our interior storage options. So we'll start out underneath our center console, of course. As you can see, this is pretty nicely sized. Decent depth to it. It does have a rubber lining at the bottom, which is removable. And then you have some USB ports right there. But let's get our coupons out, put it to the test here. Looks like we can stick those in there just like that. Oh, it does have a little trouble closing. Maybe if we turn them the opposite direction. There we go. So you can close those and fit those in there fine. Now slide back this big piece of ash wood. That's going to reveal your 2 cup holders as well as the standard wireless phone charging pad. And then up in front of that you have a 12-volt outlet. Now, unlike several of the Volvo models, including the 2022 XC60, we do still have the traditional shifter on board with the XC90. So you're obviously just going to pull back for drive. You can bump over to the left if you want to shift manually, but there are not paddles on the steering wheel. And then heading into reverse, you'll be greeted with the standard backup camera on all the models. As you can see, we do have active trajectory as well as parking sensors. However, we don't have the 360 camera on this particular example because we are not equipped with the advanced package that I mentioned earlier. And then back behind the shifter, you have your electronic parking brake as well as your brake hold function. And if you're really familiar with the XC90s, you might notice something's a little different in this area. That's the fact that the really nice roller for the drive modes has actually been eliminated this year. Now if you want to adjust the drive modes, you're going to have to do that inside of the main display. Now moving next to our volume knob, let's talk about the audio system. So the Momentum comes standard with a 10-speaker sound system. Our Design and Inscription are going to have the 600-watt 14-speaker Harman Kardon Premium sound system, which we'll go ahead and give a sample of right now. Yeah, so overall sound quality of this system is absolutely A+, really wonderful stuff. However, I'll go ahead and mention you can still get the 1400 watt Bauer & Wilkins premium sound system with 19 speakers. That's available for about $3,000, and that remains one of the finest sound systems I've ever sampled, ever. Now, we're up here at our display. So this is the 9-inch display, just like last year, and this continues to be running the Sensus software, just like most Volvos. Of course, you still got your home screen with your adjustable tiles through here. I won't spend a bunch of time on this because, like I said, this is, you know, the typical Volvo affair that you're used to seeing. As you can see, you do have your built-in navigation system. You do have both Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities with a wired connection. Inside of the display, of course, you also have your climate controls. So we have a standard 4-zone automatic climate control setup. So right there is your zones and stuff like that. You can go over here and make your adjustments for both the second and third row climate systems. This is where you slide up and down your temperature controls. This is also where you turn on and off your heated and ventilated seats. Standard heated seats on all the models, standard ventilated seats on our Design and Inscription. Now moving on from that, we do have a standard frameless auto-dimming mirror with 3 Homelink universal garage door openers. And then another nice standard feature is this panoramic moonroof. Like I said, this is included on all the models. As you can see, you have a kind of transparent power sunshade, and it goes all the way back to the second row headrest.
Alright guys, so come join me in the XC90's rear seat area. Now, we'll go ahead and start by talking about the space and the dimensions of it. We're going to have 37 inches of legroom, 39 inches of headroom, which is a good amount of space, although it is a little bit less in the Audi Q7 as well as the all-new Acura MDX. But the space is certainly not a problem because behind your seating position I have, I would say, 6.5 inches of legroom, and my feet can easily slide up underneath the seat. It is also worth noting this one, as equipped, does have the bench seat option, but you can get captain's chairs if you would prefer that on your XC90. Now let's turn our attention towards the features. Here in the center we do have 4-zone climate control since this is a higher end model. Above that we're also going to notice that you have 3-stage heated rear seats. That's going to be an option. Then down below that we have vents here in the center. We also are going to have vents here on the B pillar. Then if we drop further below that, we will find 2 charging USBs. These are the Type-C connections. Then we can fold this centerpiece down. That gives us cup holders inside. And we also have rear window sunshades, which is absolutely perfect for a hot day like today. Now to hop into the third row, Volvo has made it pretty simple. So you just locate this little lever on the back of the seat back and pull that. And then that allows the seat to fold forward, and then you can slide it out of the way. Now, getting back here into the third row of the XC90, the first thing I want to point out is obviously this is just a 2-seat configuration, so you're definitely not going to fit 3 people back here, and it's kind of almost like a captain's chair in the third row. That's pretty unique. Now, as far as the legroom figures, that's going to be 32 inches of legroom, 36 inches of headroom, so that actually does place it above the MDX and Q7. Behind this seating position, I have, not too much legroom, but my feet can easily slide up underneath the seat, so that's pretty nice. We're also going to have vents here on the pillar here, which certainly are nice to have on a hot day like today. Something the Q7 does not offer, and overall, I'm pretty comfortable. Walking up to the XC90's tailgate, you are going to have a really nice feature, and that's that hands-free as well as power is standard across every single model. So just wave your foot under the bumper to open it up. Now you're also going to be pleasantly surprised with the space back here, since we have 16 cubic feet behind the third row. That's a pretty good figure. We have 42 cubic feet behind the second row. And then as a maximum, we have 86 cubic feet. That does place it as larger than the all-new Acura MDX. So certainly there's going to be plenty of space for the vast majority of families' needs. And then as far as stuff to mention back here, we do have LED lighting on the side. We have a 12-volt outlet here on the right side. And then if we lift up the cargo floor, it is nicely carpeted. We do have a spare tire up under that. I do want to point out, though, that a power folding third row is not going to be available on the XC90, which is a feature I certainly would like to see. So that does make folding the seats a little bit more inconvenient. As far as the second row, they do fold 40-20-40 split. Passenger seat on the XC90 is going to be quite a few ways power adjustment. It appears to be the same as the driver. We also are going to have 3-person memory seats here on the passenger side. That's a pretty rare feature to have. Then if we open up the glove box, you just locate this button right here on the left side, and that opens this up. This is one of the largest glove boxes I have ever seen equipped on a vehicle. Volvo's always really impressed me when it comes to that, and it is just absolutely massive. It's also felt lined. It's illuminated, and everything fits in there perfectly fine. You don't have to worry about the coupons not fitting in. Now up top we have a sun visor, LED lighting on that as well, and we can detach it. However, it does not have an extension.
We are going up to 60 miles per hour with the 2022 XC90. So the powertrain situation on the XC90 is going to stay the same this year. Some of the other Volvo products have gained a mild hybrid setup, like the 60 series models, but that's not going to be the case for the XC90. It's going to stay with the same 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine options across the range. So you start out with T5. That's got the single turbo. This is the T6, so we have the turbo and the supercharged, and that's going to be making 310 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque.
And of course, they do also offer plenty different powertrain setups. That's something Volvo is always good at offering. The T5 is going to have 250 horsepower, and then the recharged T8 model is going to have 420 horsepower. If you're interested in a review on that, we do have that one on the channel as well. We did that one last year. Certainly a lot of power with that, but this is the one that most people end up buying, and it's a good in between for pricing as well as power output. But just kind of cruising along, that's what I really want to hammer in about the XC90, is just how comfortable it is. We're here in the Inscription model, and it is just, you're surrounded by luxury, and just the ride quality and experience is really, really good. So, you know, we're hitting a few of these like storm drain things, and it really just soaks up the bumps really well. You don't have any type of penetration into the cabin, and these seats really just elevate your experience. They're the typical Volvo seats, and they are absolutely amazing. I could have my bed as a Volvo seat. It's so nice.
I do want to mention that you can get this with an air suspension. This one does not have the air suspension. It still rides, like Mason was saying, extremely comfortably. Yeah, and power certainly comes on very strong. As far as your transmission is concerned, you've got an 8-speed automatic transmission. Just like in past model years, you know, this just kind of blends into the driving experience very nicely. You don't really notice it operating in the background. It's nice and smooth, gives you power when you need it. You know, just does its job and does it well.
Yeah. And you're going to have standard all-wheel drive on every single model besides for the T5. The T5 engine, you can get front drive with that, which does tie into your fuel economy. So the T6 all-wheel drive is going to be 19, 27, 22 combined, which is pretty good for the segment. If you go for the T5, that's going to be 25 combined if you go for front drive, or 23 combined with all-wheel drive. And why not go ahead and talk about our airball and slam dunk for the XC90. So I'll start off today with our slam dunk. Slam dunk's going to just be overall how this vehicle has aged. I think that that's really the strongest point for this XC90. Like Drew said at the beginning of this video, this is on its 7th model year, and this thing, it still turns, every time I see one drive down the road, I'm like, wow, that is good looking. I'm looking at it, and that is really an incredible feat. And not only that, but this interior is also really just an impeccable luxury experience.
And as far as the airball is concerned, one of the things I noticed inside this cabin is just kind of a lack of places to stick things. For example, your cell phone, you have this one little spot here, which is your wireless phone charging pad. It's kind of the only spot where you can stick loose items besides inside of your cup holder. And it, that kind of slides around and stuff. It would just been nice to have a little cubby kind of up here, something you could tuck something in and actually keep it in one spot, stored out of the way visually.
And let's go ahead and discuss the pricing for the XC90. So this model has always kind of been in between some of the Japanese rivals, as well as the really a lot more expensive German rivals when it comes to luxury 3-rows. Kind of meshes with the MDX and that type of thing. So the T5 front drive is going to start a touch under 50 at $49,900. T6 all-wheel drive $57,300. Then you go all the way up to the T8 recharge. That's going to be $63,800. Now you can get quite a few options on each of those trim levels depending on which one you want. This one is going to be pretty well optioned on, plus a $1,095 destination charge at $68,160. We're looking at 55 even for our sun level reading, going 55 miles per hour. So that's certainly a good reading, something that I would expect out of a luxury vehicle.
But all in all, at the beginning of the video, we asked, does this continue to be one of the top luxury 3-row options? And I think that it really does. Everything that's strong about this vehicle has just continued to be strong year after year after year. Like I said, this thing has really just aged so incredibly gracefully. And there's a lot of the rivals I feel like are just now catching up, even after this has been on sale this long.
Well guys, we hope you enjoyed watching our in-depth review of the 2022 Volvo XC90 Inscription. Of course, this is a beautiful luxury SUV, and if you're interested in cars at all, please hit that subscribe button down below. It's completely free to you. We have tons of automotive content, stuff that goes against this XC90, as well as cheaper, more affordable vehicles and more expensive ones. So whatever you have in mind, we have it on the channel. Anyway, we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.